on location and driven by Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. It's Billified, the Bill Moran Podcast.
Well, hello and welcome from the love capital of Rhinebeck, New York. I'm in my mom's home. You can see all the things behind me, and there she is, Ma Marge. Last night we were people watching at the Beekman Arms, the oldest inn in America, and it's so much fun to go there. It's like this old. It's almost like a speakeasy in the back. I mean, it's not. It's, you know what I mean? It's quiet. It's nice. It's like you're tucked away. No one knows where you are. It's awesome. And Mom Marge was disciplined and had one drink, and I did not. I had two. I have to just say this, and I don't know where I got this from, and maybe you have a better insight, but I love to drink.
Oh,
I mean, I
know where it came from.
I just love it. I love the people. I love the events around it. I like the games. I like the socialization. Nothing makes me happier than when you go out for brunch and they say mimosas. Yeah, all right, we'll have mimosas. Oh, it's bottomless mimosas today, and you practically get so excited. It's so much fun. But my mother said as she sat down, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And
here.
Yeah, here. And I said, I don't like to tell you because I don't want you to overthink things because you have a tendency to do that. But what I would say is this will be fun. This will be very interesting and insightful. And I think, no, I did. Why are you nervous?
I'm not.
Yes, you are. My mom, who rebuilt her house after it burned down, rebuilt her life after 35 years of marriage, raised 3 kids, ran a department, and is still teaching at 79 years old.
Wow.
Right? You're going to be teaching a class for adult learners at Bard College, which I think is still one of the most expensive universities in the United States. And for people who haven't heard about it, if you watch the Chevy Chase, and it's Chevy, you idiot, as I interviewed him once, and I burst out laughing. I think I just get that guy. Like, I really do, because everybody said to me afterwards, that interview would have tanked had you not. And I go, yeah, he wasn't. That's funny. That's a funny thing that he said. And but it's in there. He went to Bard. I don't know that he finished.
I don't think
I think he dropped out, but it's in there. So, but you were going to be teaching a class for adult learners on listening, which I think is maybe one of the most important skills you can have. And if you could develop it at 25, it would be such a nice thing. But for you, what is the difference between hearing and truly listening? And pull that microphone a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
You don't have to, if you just, yeah. There you
go.
Yeah.
Well, hearing's more physical and mechanical.
Yeah.
Listening gets more into emotional
Right.
and intellectual. And if you're really listening, you're empathizing with the listener, with the speaker.
Yeah. So listening is a validation.
Yes.
When you think about it. And I even wonder if that helps people with like their nervous system regulation of things. I mean, when you think about a child who isn't listened to, what do? They get loud. Then they get your attention one way or another. Right. And I think that's the...
so do adults.
Well, sure. And I mean, there is something about when we feel truly heard. I even think that like when you're not really listening in a marriage, and you're hearing but not listening. And I think like most guys hear and then they try to fix instead of listen. Right?
Yes.
And I really do. And I think that listening, I mean, this is where arguments dissolve sometime into name calling, which is always the intellectual eject button on anything. And it's hard to recover from that. I think that it leads to like our political division. No one's really listening to anybody anymore. There's a lot of shouting on social media and things that we hear. I don't know. I would say listening is regulation.
Yeah. And then that's a big thing when people are trying to fix it and somebody else is just trying to say. Sometimes they just need a place to talk. They need somebody to listen to them. And, I've spent my life in teaching communication skills.
Right.
Most of it was on the other end, helping people speak and speak
right.
correctly and all. But to do that, I also taught listening, and I used to, with the kids, talk about whole body listening. So you need to attend with your eyes. You need to be looking at the person.
Right.
You need to be tuned in. So you need to be centered, calmed down, focused. So all of that comes into play.
All that does come into play. Let me ask you about like the neurodivergent, for example, which is the term we'll say about kids on with autism spectrum disorder or anything. Because I spend a lot of time with a young man who has some issues. I won't go into what they are, but often is like doing something else while the teacher's teaching, but will look at me and answer the question that is asked to the class. I just wonder, for some, it's that way. I would think like there are physical signs that you're tuned in and listening. And I think as an adult, you need to learn those or give the respect, especially in relationships and things. And I don't even mean romantic relationships.
All relationships.
Yeah.
No, it's really important.
Yeah, because I think if you don't feel heard at some times, you don't feel safe. Mm-hmm. Would that be, you know what I mean? You almost feel, especially in a relationship. And I do think, like, what was that silly book that came out years ago? And then there's some truth to it. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, and it became a joke. It became something. Some people took it very seriously, but there was some value, I think, in there, and especially from the male side of, well, I have to fix something. Yeah. And the more emotional side is like exactly what you said, which is what therapy would be. Person-centered therapy would be listening and not trying to fix, letting you find the solution yourself.
And a lot of times, like in relationships and with men especially, they are hearing it.
Yeah.
And so it looks to the speaker that they're not listening, but they've heard, if you question them on it. So, but then, it's making the speaker comfortable too is another responsibility of the listener.
The house that we were raised in, that Dad had built, primarily built, most of it, it burned down. And what was the first thought when you saw the house? Like after you come back and it was just ashes in the foundation in the basement.
Oh yeah.
Because we had all come down.
Yeah.
And what did you? I mean, what was that first thought when you saw that?
You mean when it was happening? Or?
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking in the aftermath, but even when it was happening. Because you were trying to get the car out, and Dad's screaming, get out, get out, get out, and you're going to go get the car, back it out, and then...
Well, yeah, Dad was downstairs and had said, you have to get out right away and call 911. There really weren't cell phones that big in that day, so I somehow had the house phone, and I'm calling 911, and then I had just come in from yoga, and I was in the crappiest clothes possible, and I decided, well, we both need jackets. Well, I pulled out old.
Yeah, what time of year was this? I don't remember.
February.
Okay, yeah.
And it was very cold out. There was snow all over the ground. And so then I'm like not seeing the flames, right? And they're under me. So I'm thinking, I had a new job and all the testing for the kindergartners in the Wateridge School District was in the back of my car.
Okay.
We did this quarterly test. A lot of listening skills and all. So I thought, I'll go through the garage. So as I'm going through the dining room, which we entered the garage through, the lights went out. The flames were raging under me, but I didn't know it. And so I went to put up the garage door and only went up a little bit because the electricity went out. So I'm going down, coats in my hand and all, and I go down the stairs because you went down into the garage.
Right.
Remember? And I thought, do I take the car and just drive it?
I would have.
Ram it through?
Yeah.
Well, Dad was standing there, so... So it was a good thing I did. I crawled under and he goes, oh my God, where were you? And he said, we have to run down this driveway. And he said, the windows are going to blow. And we weren't to the bottom of the driveway that the windows started blowing out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
yeah. So.
You come real close to your own mortality in that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
When I think about standing over that dining room, when I think of what that would have felt like. That floor collapsed.
Yeah.
And everything did collapse and went right into the basement.
Right. Yeah.
And it was minutes.
Yeah.
maybe less. I don't know. But anyway, I got out, and the car burned, and the school district, we were fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing that taught you, and that was the thing. I think I was even the bottom of that driveway, and I realized everything else is replaceable.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I remember really being hit by that here we were standing there. We had good jobs. We had insurance. Somehow this would be taken care of. And then we were a mess together. And I really thought that we could now work together and pull this back together, our own relationship.
Right.
Because everything was taken away.
Right.
I mean, there was nothing.
No, because I was going to ask you, what does it teach you about attachments? And I think you just said it. Everything is replaceable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain things like pictures and stuff.
The pictures and the videos, those were the things of you guys growing up.
Yeah, those are the things I think would be hard.
I had antique things that my mother had given me of her mother's, and that stuff was gone. There was a beautiful butter dish, and, it's all gone. And I remember saying to her, no, hold it for a while. And well, she did. But, yeah, you realize that. And I remember when the psychologist in school, he meant well, but he kept following me around. He thought I should be a wreck. He thought I should be a mess.
Yeah.
And I was really okay because, we just started putting it back together again. And none of you guys were there.
We're all adults. I had,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure where the,
some of it.
I had kids.
Yes.
Jackson and Jordan were around, so.
And you all came down. And,
yeah.
we got settled into a condo, and we got preoccupied with building that house.
How many years were you married? 38? Was it? I remember we had the 35th.
Yeah. So it was about 38 when we did separate. Yeah.
Was leaving harder than staying?
Staying was probably all the years in between, and I'm only talking for myself, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Was hard, but I was scared.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I was strong enough to do it, and I certainly, yeah.
So what?
But when the final breaking point came, it was easier. It was better at that point to be alone than what was going on.
I'm thinking about, a lot of times I think there are. Maybe it's men because I'm a guy, and but men feel stuck in a certain relationship and don't know. I think this is a very relatable thing here. But you're 60 plus at that point. Mm-hmm. What did you learn about yourself in that situation?
That I could have done this, and I could have done it all along.
Yeah.
And you say guys feel stuck, women feel stuck.
Oh, sure.
Because a lot of women. Well, I was raised with the idea that the man's the head of the family, the man takes care of everything.
Right.
Which I never complied to. I remember my dad saying to me, so you're working for a little while now? I think it was after you were born, Billy, or maybe Katie. I had gone back, and he said, to help Bill out. I was like, wait a minute. I have a career here. And I said, no, Dad, I have a career. I trained to do this stuff. I love doing it. And I'm working for that, too. So a lot of women feel stuck, and a lot of women are. And they couldn't support themselves. And so they're very stuck in situations they can't get out.
What surprised you about dating later in life? Because you're 60-something years old, and it was, I thought it was, I had no problem with that at all. I thought it was great.
It was kind of fun. It was kind of neat to see that you still could attract people. You know?
Sure.
And there were a lot of good times,
Yeah.
I had a lot of good times. And each person brings something different. But now I think you look at it and you realize, I'm not giving up what I have.
Right.
A lot of my independence, a lot of freedom. So getting married again is fine for some people, but I think you have to look at the whole picture. So, and then you see, there's an independence there, so you're not involved with that other person. So even sometimes when they make remarks and things were with your husband, and I know I was like this, oh, stop, don't, hey, you're not part of me.
That's it. That's funny. Yeah, that is very funny. Wow, yeah, I kind of like that. I saw an Instagram reel that I thought was maybe spot on, and it's from a woman's point of view. And she's like a single mom. She goes, I just want a part-time boyfriend that will be there when I want him to be, and will do what I want to do, and he'll see nobody else, but he'll be available whenever I want. But he can't see, I want him to myself, but I just want him when I want him. And I thought, yeah, I could totally see why that ideal would be nice.
Yeah.
Right? Because you just don't want the bullshit of stuff. And I think I say often as a joke, when we talk about unconditional love and things, you leave your socks on the floor. Those little tiny annoyances.
Oh, yeah.
Sharing a bathroom with a man is probably way grosser than sharing it with a woman, or vice versa. I don't know. So you walk in, there's hair in the sink, there's this, there's that, or there's hair in the drain. I don't know. I would say, everything you've kind of talked about here, reinvention's not a young person's game. This is not, or only a young person's game. I think a lot of time we think, well, you can reinvent yourself. No, I think you should always be trying to better yourself or do something. I'm not sure about reinvent, but even the starting over thing, I think all that's overwhelming and scary.
It is, but I think, as I said, we limit ourselves. We let ourselves be scared,
Yeah.
And I think they are, again, more self-love, more realism in your abilities, more confidence in yourself.
You are a master level Reiki as well.
I am.
And what is Reiki like in I guess in simple terms? We'll call it layman terms, so to speak.
It's working on the body, the chakras of the body, to let energy flow. And everything is made of energy.
Yeah.
And people are realizing that more and more and more. Science is validating that all over the place. So it helps people. It doesn't do anything. Reiki is not to cure you. It's not, you have an illness, you come and have Reiki. No. Reiki is just to let your body, and we have magnificent bodies that can heal themselves in many, many ways. So Reiki is to let your body relax, let those chakras open, let the energy flow, and let you be better able to heal yourself, your body to be more in balance.
Is presence healing?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think being in the moment. We're always looking at the past or worried about what's going to happen in the future.
Right.
But the moments we have.
Right.
Like, I'm just thinking, this has been such a nice weekend. It was a short weekend with you. But the moments, being in the present for those moments was a present. It was, and we have those all the time.
Right.
Like waking up in the morning and looking out at the sunshine, but being present to see that. Not waking up, I got to do this, I got to do that.
Right.
But taking those moments. So that's where I think meditation really helps.
Yeah.
Just gratitude, practicing gratitude. And it's easy. It's simple.
What are you still learning?
Yeah, I don't think you ever stop learning. I'm learning that. And we fall back all the time. So yesterday morning I woke up, I wasn't feeling that great. And I was anticipating trying to get everybody together for that podcast because it's a group I'm with and all. And everybody was doing it from their homes. I was worried about all that. And then I didn't like the way my hair looked. And I was just, and then I thought, so then the day progressed. And once that podcast was over, I felt so relieved. And it went well. And then we had such a nice afternoon, taking a walk, and then, stopping at the Beekman Arms, which we absolutely enjoy so much. And then nice dinner, and you were working. And it just, so when I got up this morning, I changed my intention completely. Because, in fact, I'm going to this party, and I love who it's for this afternoon. And then she tells me she sits me at a table where I don't know anybody because I'll handle it, basically. Oh, my God. And then this morning I went, you know what? Look at it this way. That's going to be fun. And you know what? You're going to wash your hair and blow it out, and it's going to come out, and you're going to really like it today. And so I set that intention, and what a difference. So you do learn. And I think we're human. So you're going to have to keep going back and doing those things.
Well, you're in a human experience,
Yeah.
and I think sometimes we would look at all these things like, if I do this, it'll fix everything, or these woo-woo things, or you're in a human body having a human experience, and you can, kind of go the other way, and life's never going to stop coming at you, but you don't have to look at it as, because that even sounds disastrous. Life's never going to stop coming at you. You know what I mean? It's like a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. Right. Well, what do older people get wrong about aging?
I think probably worrying too much about where they're going to wind up and what's going to happen. And again, if we could stay in the moment, you have to set things. I mean, I'm now in a condominium that I own and I love. Right. And it's a better place to be than, so you have to do all those things and get them in place. But then I think you always have to keep having fun. And being involved and, having a lot of volunteering is a wonderful thing, because you just get so much more out of volunteering, and there's so many places and so many people that can use help. And I think just being aware of the people around you, but I think that's the thing, isolation, when people stop leaving their homes, they're worried about things, and so that's I think the biggest thing, probably the worrying and stopping being engaged. I think lifetime learning is important. I think keeping up any kind of activities, knitting groups, sewing groups, dancing, being social.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important. And you could even see it in you and Dad, the difference that was there for a certain thing. What do you think? So younger people, right? We look at getting older, but what do we misunderstand about getting older? Maybe.
I think, and I haven't experienced this too much, but I think some other people said that all of a sudden, the younger, this would be their own children, right?
Yeah.
Are telling them now what to do.
Oh.
And treating them like they're less than. So I think one of the things for younger people to understand is you need to assess, you need to see where your parents are at.
Sure.
But then the other thing is let them be who they are, and let them continue. The other thing is just in general with older people, I think you need to realize all the wisdom that older people can bring. Yeah. And I think talk to them more, and if you have some kind of a group, ask them to come join that group. Even play groups. We have a play group that's here, and they're looking for grandmothers to come read to the little kids, which is a great thing, But there's a lot of wisdom that can be shared.
That's very interesting, because as you were saying that, I go, there's wisdom versus information, right? And sometimes we can all absorb information, but then how do you apply it? And that's where wisdom is. How do I fit this into my life or whatever it is? Well, is there anything that you wish you understood better, let's say at 40? Yeah, I know. Yeah. Or we could say your younger self to now,
Yes. I would really have to said, things are going to be okay. They're going to work out fine. You need to relax and you need to really be who you are, and you need to love yourself more.
Yeah. Sure.
So that you can
be better for and be better for everybody around you. That's good. I mean, you think about even energy in relationships where you're worrying, that's an energy, right? And then that's picked up on, and, you start this dance, and the dance becomes the same thing over and over again. And I like it. I think a lot of what you're saying to me is like aging without shrinking.
Yeah.
Right? Where, while I really can't do that anymore, or I'm just going to stay here. I'm not going to age without shrinking. I mean, that's a big thing.
There are things you have to adapt to. I no longer want to get on my bike.
Yeah.
But I'll go out walking.
Sure.
And, do lots of other things. Traveling. Traveling is very important if you can do it.
Yeah, you went to Milan last summer? Last fall.
Last fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the Olympics are in Milan.
And that's been so much fun to watch that.
Yeah. Well, is there anything that you're still working on?
Oh, yeah.
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 What would that be?
Well, see, confidence.
Really?
Yeah.
You went to college, right?
Oh,
to an
yeah.
all-girls college, coming from a home where that wasn't really
Not at
supported.
all. I mean,
No, I'm not going to say supported. It did happen.
It happened.
But when it wasn't popular,
it was not popular, and I think in so many ways I really connived my way into that one well.
Yeah,
I
but
did a good job.
But that's a confidence that you can do it.
Yes.
Right? And then the masters, and then the running your department, getting a private license to do therapy when you used to do stuttering therapy with people. And
early intervention.
Early intervention stuff. So really confidence.
Well,
in what area?
In new areas. Like I have never really taught adults, so I'm looking at that.
Yeah.
To possibly do that in the fall, and designing a course and putting that together. And I think these are learning new things with the computer and all, because I can get overwhelmed with that stuff. But I think working on the confidence that I can figure this out.
Yeah.
You know, even when I got the new car, it was like, whoa.
Right.
Because my other car was 12 years old. So the difference in this car and that car was amazing.
I think this is great.
And then confidence, because I think society often thinks they're older. You know, that's what happened there. So you often think I want to be very cautious in the car too, because if you're in an accident, oh well.
Yeah. I think that there is maybe a certain point in society. I never felt this way. I can't say that I don't care what people think. And then obviously things like what other people's opinions are me are none of my business. But it's not that I never cared. I just never let it kind of stop me. And I've never felt where I've heard women my age say you become invisible in society. I don't know if that's changing now a little bit, because and then there are certain segments of, there's married and unmarried. I would be out seeing more of the social life that goes on. And also many people my age, their kids are in college or out. So, I've never felt that way. I've never felt invisible. I never felt like I didn't fit in anywhere. I really didn't. I always felt like I could walk into a country club and fit in there, and I could walk into a garage and talk to the guys there, and I just felt like I fit in everywhere.
You must have had a wonderful mother.
I guess. I just never did. And I know that, people don't like this because there's often the term white privilege, and I know a lot of guys who will go, well, what do you mean? I had to work my ass off. I had to do this. I had to do that. And it isn't so much that. I think it's like you have you're more accepted. So when you go in there, you're more accepted in certain places, Yeah. I mean, and I think that I would say, I know people profile and we hear, oh, you're not supposed to profile and you shouldn't do this. But I go, it's sort of our animal instinct and you get it. I mean, I remember, Brother Weeze, white guy covered in tattoos, right? He's coming back, had his boat up in Ontario, is going to let the kids and everybody stay there, and he's going to run home. And what he's bringing home are these oversized pillows that are just on the boat, taking up too much space. He's going through with another guy in the car that is also as tattooed as he is. They owned a tattoo parlor together. Now, just to tell you the story, they get pulled over at the border, and the border security is ripping open the pillows looking for cocaine, because these guys, you understand? So again, it's like what fits, your thing. And my thing was, I felt like I could walk in anywhere. I was never suspected of anything nefarious. I really wasn't. Maybe a little bit, but not, nothing. I walked in everywhere, and I just always had fun. I for the most part. I don't know. We'll wrap it up here. I would close it by saying I think that most people want to be understood. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think very few sometimes are willing to understand. And I think that may be part of our problem, even in a collective thing. And maybe that's why I would say at 79 you're still growing, right? I mean, not the shrinking flower, not the one. And maybe the goal isn't to be heard, but maybe the goal is to become someone worth listening to.
Yeah.
You know, someone worth listening to have the wisdom, to have the life experience, and to sort of slow down and
I live in an excellent community here.
Yeah.
It's an aging population, but it's active. There's something to do all the time. It's just, and yet it's diverse, you know?
Sure.
So it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed.
Well, you are very blessed. And then you even have me who comes to visit.
I know. I
and
love
all
it.
those types of things. For Mom Marge, starting over and doing great. It's never too late. I'm Bill Moran. We'll see you tomorrow.